Welcome to Nugget 312 with Steve and Dana Groman, and we will be shifting gears today.
That sounds interesting.
Is it a 4-speed or a 5-speed?
I think 5.
We don't want one of those 3 on the trees. But anyway,
No.
You have been teaching lately in some churches and pointing out some interesting verses. And people have been captivated by the information, and we wanted to start sharing that with our online audience.
That sounds good.
Today we will be focusing on verses in Mark 11, and we will be starting with Mark 11, 12 through 14. And on the morrow, when they were come from Bethany, he was hungry, and seeing a fig tree afar off having leaves, he came, if haply he might find anything thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of the figs was not yet. And Jesus answered and said unto it, No man eat of the fruit of thee hereafter forever. And his disciples heard it.
Well, let me say something about that first. The he that they're talking about there is Jesus, obviously. There were no figs on the tree, and we've heard teaching on this over and over for years, no doubt. But something of interest that often gets overlooked. He said, No man eat of the fruit of thee hereafter forever. It says there at the end, his disciples heard it. Okay, so that becomes important here in just a minute. Then after that incident, if you look in Mark 11, that's when Jesus cleanses the temple, the money changer's table gets knocked over. And then in verse number 20 it says,
And in the morning, as they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. And Peter, calling to remembrance, saith unto him, Master, behold, the fig tree which thou cursed is withered away.
Okay, something interesting with this. In the morning, Jesus spoke to the tree. They leave that area. Then the money changer issue takes place. Then in the morning, they're walking by it again. And Peter says he's remembering what Jesus had said because it says that the disciples heard it. And then he is surprised. He says that the fig tree which thou cursed, it's withered away. He just now saw it. Now, something of interest here. That tree died when Jesus talked to it yesterday. The manifestation of it was not until the next day. Oftentimes, we got to remember, we get prayed for at the altar of a church sometime at a service, and we don't notice anything take place. And we walk away, and a lot of times people say, well, I guess it wasn't my time, or I guess it didn't work. Even if they don't say it, they feel it. They think that. Well, when Peter walked away from the fig tree, when Jesus spoke, it didn't show anything. But Jesus had no doubt that when he said what he said to the tree, it was done. Because look at the next thing Jesus says.
And Jesus answering saith unto them, Have faith in God.
Basically, all he said is, have faith in God. He had total faith that when he said something to that tree yesterday, it's done. The disciples heard it, but they didn't see anything until the next day. This is important. When Jesus says something is done, it's done. And there may be 24 hours later, maybe a week later, maybe a month later, but it is done at that point. His only answer is have faith in God. It was like, duh, a moment of just believe. All throughout the Gospels, Jesus said to his disciples to go into the world, and we're going to get into this kind of thing, but he says it's all the awesome stuff is to them that believe. And right there, Jesus said, just believe God. Just have faith in God.
Faith in God is exceedingly important, and if we want to see things happen, we have to have faith in God.
That's
it's as
exactly
simple as
right.
that. All right, well, thank you.